obviously since Kendrick dropped his album, A Bar and Whacked Out Murals was talking about white comedians and woo woo woo. Gary Owens tried to jump on that wave and said what he said and kind of fell to the side. But Andrew Schulz has kind of taken this opportunity to grow his fandom and his following and to me, clout chase. And I think since the song is dropped or the album is dropped, he's been the loudest person in this mix outside of Drake's allegations to, you know, the record companies and the streaming companies.
Matt Barnes on All the Smoke gave his thoughts on the Andrew Schulz, Kendrick Lamar fiasco.
Andrew Schulz has been consistently day in, day out going in and trying to grow from this. And if you want to respond, you know, to what Kendrick said in the song, although he didn't name no names, I don't think no one had a problem with that. But obviously I feel like you crossed the line when you started talking about taking his manhood and just disrespecting him as a man. And now you want to cry about the reaction. I'm not sure what you expected, bro. Comedy is comedy. You know, it's hit or miss. And you've definitely found your lane and got some fame of late and have really been doing your thing up to this point. But you crossed the line, and I think that you're finding out what that means now. This is not a game. You're not really just going to go around disrespecting people these days, especially someone to his caliber who has the love of the entire West Coast by far, but, you know, a lot of love out there in general. So my advice, bro, is just fall back, leave it alone, let it blow over, because the more you talk, the more you're going to get in. I wish you and your family peace and happiness, bro.
Let's get into it. So let's go over the history first, and then we'll get into my perspective and others' perspective. First, Kendrick said in a song, all right, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman, that's law. It's likely a reference to when Schulz went on a different podcast than his own and made jokes about black women, to which the host would apologize later for letting it slide because it was bad. It was trash. It wasn't funny. They gave him what I felt like were pity laughs. It was degrading. It was terrible. And to be clear, he reacted to, you've seen those before and after photos where, you know, white men share on their Instagrams or TikTok or whatever, where they're like, hey, this is me before dating a black woman, and this is me after dating a black woman, and look at the glow up, and look at how much I've improved, and look at just me from a appearance perspective and a physical perspective. And Schulz hated it. Why you would hate that, I have no idea. Why you are, you know, going in on someone being happy with themselves, being confident with themselves, improving their lives. Like, I don't get it. I don't think I'll ever get it. But then again, I'm not Andrew Schulz. So he would then, and what you saw was a sample of some of the comments. He would then turn it into, hey, his crew will beat me up. If they see me out in the street, they're going to get me. All right. There's no doubt that they will F me up and I will be left really, really, really hurt. No doubt about it. All right. But if it were me and Kendrick, I would R-word him. I would make sweet love to him and I would R-word him. And I have no doubt that I would be able to come out on top. Pardon the pun. And that's why everybody's so taken aback by it. Because it's, like, first off, you're committing an essay. And secondly, it's just weird. It's just a weird thing to say from a weird guy who literally looks like his haircut would be modeled after Germany in the 30s. What is going on with this dude, man? So that was odd. I don't know when someone would say, oh, man, that's awesome. You know, and then in return, what he would also do is play up the, I'm getting canceled. Everyone's coming after me, blah, 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 blah. When no, like, no one is canceling you. First off, it doesn't exist. But secondly, it's because it was a dumb thing to say. It's because it was super unfunny. And I also think they gave you courtesy laughs there as well. You know why? Because it's the same thing that Jesselnick said about comedians going on Joe Rogan, where they just want it to be a whole dap-up party, and he's not about that life, and I don't blame him. But, like, some of the other dudes there, they know where their bread is buttered. They know that they cannot say anything about those that cut the checks. Now, some of you may be thinking, because I know it's going to pop into your head, what about you? Go look at previous comments I have made. I don't let stuff slide on here. But it doesn't matter. I thought Rosenberg also put this quite well in a tweet. Kendrick calls out Schulz for running down black women, more specifically, the dudes who let it happen unchecked. Andrew Schulz responds by saying, oh, because rappers are so pro-women. Schulz is no different than former Fox News host Bill O'Reilly. Acting like Kendrick Lamar is 2 Live Crew. It is a nonsensical response and shows Schulz doesn't actually like or understand hip-hop. Please hear me. Not all white guys are built the same. For some of us, black culture is not wacky fodder or a means to an end. Exactly. I also saw one of the dumbest TikToks ever. It was a white dude with a Twitch-like setup speaking to probably a camera, whatever. He has the podcast mic set up, dark room with the lights. And he's a white dude wearing a backwards hat, and he goes, yeah, I just don't think soul is anything to brag about. Get that unk stuff out of here, man. Thankfully, he's getting dragged, as he should. Because to some of us, we do take this seriously. I take it seriously. I also think when there is a white dude such as Schulz, who at times cosplays even with the dialect, there needs to be timeouts called in the game. And I think what's also happened is he's been able to get away with it for way too long. Way too long. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. I think people were waiting for that moment. And now it's occurred. And he's dealing with the repercussions. He is dealing with the consequences of his own actions. Now, you should also remember, Schulz is playing up like this anti-wokeness. He even at one point said Kendrick is too woke to get a joke. That's insane. But he even invited who on his podcast prior to the general? Donald Trump. He invited Donald Trump. And he tried out material on like abortion. One outlet even basically called him the second wave after Joe Rogan in the manosphere. I agree and disagree with that. But the most hilarious part about it all, now Schulz is claiming that Lamar can't take a joke, despite the fact that Schulz clearly can't even hear a diss without telling on himself. See, that's another part of this, is that Kendrick didn't even say his name. And he responded so angrily and aggressively. What if the line wasn't for you? What if the line was for somebody else? You know what it speaks to? Because I'll tell you, it speaks to a deep-seated insecurity for Andrew Schulz, where he plays victim because he thinks that someone is talking about him when they very well could not be, and immediately plants his flag before it gets banned by a certain Ohio Republican lawmaker. He plants his flag and says, no, how dare you? I'm going to R-word you. Ha ha. Oh, whoops. Got a joke about R-word now because that's all I got. Insane. And who's going to come out on top on this? It's not Schulz. For the people that allowed this sort of rhetoric to go unchecked for so long, I think they're finally having that coming down to earth moment and realizing this guy is nothing. And they're probably going to hop off. But in turn, you know what's going to happen? A new audience is going to flock to him. And maybe that's his play all along. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.